So we had to study again the implications of British common law and to make changes to it so that it is in conformity with the teachings of Islam. So it is entirely possible for us to change human laws, but we cannot change God's laws. So we can only change human laws to conform with God's laws, but not change God's laws to conform with human laws. That is why we see a lot of confusion today. A lot of people feel that we know so much already. We have no need for religion. If we feel like doing something, why are you stopping us from doing it? If the majority wants to do something, we should allow it, because this is the popular demand. But when you go and cater for popular demand, you are likely to go wrong unless you go back to the teachings of the religion, which has laid certain principles, certain constraints on what we can do and what we cannot do. That is why religion plays a very important part in keeping the stability of a community. If you veer far away from religion, then you are really going to adopt systems and values which may be popular, but will be very damaging to a lot of us. For example, if I give this example of people who like to streak, you know, in public they take off their clothing and streak. That's something they want to do. But religion says that it is wrong. But secularists would say, well, why not? That's what he feels like doing. That is his right. Let him do it. But once you allow such thing to be done by one person, the others say, well, if he can do it, why can't we? And very soon, we have the kind of situation that you see today, where before you don't bring your same-sex friend along, today everybody does it. Even priests bring their same-sex partners to religious ceremonies. That is when you follow human laws and neglect entirely the religious injunctions against certain things.
Dr. Sadruddin Ibrahim, it's good to see you back.
My two questions. One is to Dr. Mahathir. Let us be practical and get down to the ground. You practiced power for so many years. Tell us, how many of your decisions, how many of your major policies you were guided by religious clergy, the ulama in your country? And if you have, what did you do about you live in a pluralistic society? You have two other religious communities besides the Muslims. What did you do? Did you consult the religious authorities of the Buddhists and the Hindus in Malaysia? How come you were so successful despite your religious conviction and despite your abiding with the English common law and living in a pluralistic society?
Well, it is not always necessary for you to consult a person who has religious knowledge. There are lots of things about religion which we know is right or wrong. To be unjust would be wrong, would be committing a sin. And because we are doing something that is against religion, we are constrained by this fear that what we are doing would be sinful. We want to avoid sin. But at the same time, of course, it may conform to the public's perception of what is right and wrong. So to do what is right is not to commit a sin. At the same time, when you do something that is right, of course, that is acknowledged even by human society, whether they be of your own religion or not. Now, we are told in Islam that you may not use force. You may not force the conversion of people who are not Muslims. Then you must be just to them. You must be fair to them. That is what we do in Malaysia. The fact that he is a Hindu or a Buddhist does not matter. We must show that as a Muslim nation, a Muslim government, we have to be fair to everyone. There is nothing in Islam which says you have only to be fair to Muslims, but you can be unfair to non-Muslims. There's nothing said about that. So we have to be fair to the Hindus, to the Buddhists, and to the Christians, and that has resulted, as promised, in stability, in a peaceful country. But if we were to be oppressive because they are not Muslims, then the result will probably be chaos in our country. So when
I think the question was how many decisions you had were actually
Well,
guided by
practically all decisions will have some religious input. If we think that what we are doing is sinful, is something that is prescribed by religion, we just don't do it. But of course, some people may say that, no, this is not in accordance with religion, but that is their interpretation. We take the basic teachings of Islam, because today we have too many interpretations of Islam. We don't know which one is right. We are confused. But if we go back to the fundamentals of Islam, things become very easy. For example, we are taught that we should not fight people who do not fight against us. We are also taught that if somebody sues for peace, then we must respond. These are simple teachings which nobody can interpret in any other way.
So you're telling us you were basically driven by all the best of motives all the time.
Yes, even if we buy an
You never strayed from the holy path.
No.
Not once.
Well, I wouldn't be able to say. Let's take this example. We decided to buy Russian aeroplanes, fighters. Why? Because Islam
From a
enjoins...
corrupt communist administration.
We are not judging them.
I see.
They are not Muslims. But
okay.
what we need is Islam enjoins upon us to be prepared to protect the Ummah. In the days of the Prophet, a man having war horses and bows and arrows. Today we need aeroplanes, we need fighter planes. So we buy, because that is enjoined by Islam. At the same time, of course, we have to protect ourselves. So there is nothing.
So Islam was helpful to you there as well?
Yes.
In the purchase of your Russian aircraft?
Yes, not only that, when we emphasize education, that people must learn science and engineering and all that. Again, if we don't learn these disciplines, then we will not be able to build the kind of things that will protect us from other people.
All right. I want a question from some of our student population, then I'll come back to the second question. Lady there.
This question is directed to Mr. Tariq Haji. Have you thought about how you say that people should vote for their own political party, that religion shouldn't interfere in their way of thinking? But did you think about how hard it is for those people when religion has been implanted in their way of life, that religion is intricately woven in the fabric of society, that for them it's hard to separate between those two things, and it might affect their decisions in politics?
I'm talking about طبقة رجال الدين, the clergy, not to rule and govern the society. But I'm not against at all to take the soul into account or to take the values of the religion into account. I am against that we have a class of religious people who keep telling us what to do, because the end result of this would be two fatwa. I have them in my briefcase from a certain Arab country. One saying that sending Saudi Arabia, I have no problem. I know exactly what will happen to me if I decide to have a program like this in Saudi Arabia. So, actually, I have these two fatwas for my daughters, yeah? probably your age. They are graduates since 5 years, yeah?